American soldiers smoke cigarettes while resting behind a Sherman tank among the rubble of Germany in December 1944. German troops march into Prague during the invasion of Czechoslovakia on March 15, 1939. The occupation ended the country's independence, and Prague Castle became the Nazi headquarters in the region. RAF bombers attacked German warships in Heligoland in December 1939. This North Sea island was a key target for Britain early in the war, following the invasion of Poland. Brazilian soldiers of the Brazilian Expeditionary Force, FEB, interact with Italian civilians in Massarosa in September 1944. The FEB was vital in liberating several Italian cities and was the only South American army to fight in Europe during World War II. Dutch soldiers of the 16th Infantry Regiment train on ice skates during the frozen floods of the Grebellini near Aschad in the winter of 1939 to 1940. The flooding aimed to delay German invasions, but was overcome in 1940. German soldiers advanced into the Soviet Union in 1941 during Operation Barbarossa. This invasion, the largest in history, involved 3 million soldiers and marked the start of a brutal war on the Eastern Front, facing fierce resistance and the harsh Russian winter. 5-1. US infantry advances through the smouldering ruins of Waldenburg, Germany, on April 16, 1945. The town was devastated in the final battles of the war as Allied troops pressed for the total surrender of Nazi forces weeks later. British troops land near Algiers, Algeria, during Operation Torch in November 1942. This was the Allies' first major offensive against the Axis powers in the West, paving the way for the liberation of North Africa and weakening Vichy forces. A man holds up a rope used for hangings at Buchenwald concentration camp shortly after its liberation by American forces in April 1945. The site contained torture instruments used to intimidate and punish prisoners. A Soviet peasant woman raises her fist in defiance as German prisoners march under Soviet custody in 1944. An American amphibious flamethrower tank ignites a Japanese bunker as Marines advance on Peleliu in September 1944. The battle, part of the Pacific Campaign, cost over 10,000 American and 13,000 Japanese lives in fierce combat. Workers dig air raid shelters in Stockport near Manchester. The underground shelters were designed to withstand bombings, providing protection for up to 6,500 people in interconnected tunnel networks. Japanese soldiers march with flags in a military celebration after the Nanjing Massacre, which lasted 6 weeks in 1937, resulting in the deaths of approximately 300,000 civilians and Chinese prisoners, alongside widely condemned atrocities. The wreck of the USS Arizona burns after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, on December 7, 1941. The explosion killed 1,177 crew members, marking the United States' entry into World War II. Jews are escorted by German soldiers during the destruction of the Warsaw Ghetto, Poland, in 1943. The uprising resulted in thousands of deaths, while survivors were sent to extermination camps. The ghetto was reduced to rubble. A wounded soldier receives a blood plasma transfusion from a medic on August 9, 1943, in Sicily, Italy. The image illustrates the intense battle during the Allied invasion, which paved the way for Italy's liberation from Nazi fascist control. A helmet atop a rifle marks the spot where an American soldier fell on the coast of Normandy in June 1944. This tribute highlights the human cost of D-Day, when the Allies faced intense German fire to liberate occupied France. A Cromwell tank leads a British column of the 7th Armoured Division after landing on D-Day in Vire, May, France, on June 6, 1944. Cromwell tanks were crucial for their speed and mobility, advancing to liberate Normandy. 2 Soviet soldiers operate communications on a street in Berlin in 1945, with the phrase, "Berlin remains German," in the background. The Battle of Berlin marked the Nazi collapse, with the Soviets encircling the city and securing its surrender on May 2 of that year. Polish soldiers of the 2nd Polish Corps operate a mortar near Pesaro, Italy, on August 26, 1944. Part of the exiled forces after Poland's invasion, they fought bravely in the Italian campaign, including at Monte Cassino. Exhausted, Panzer Grenadiers rest on a tank after the Battle of Prokhorovka in 1943, part of the largest armoured clash in history during Kursk. This battle marked the decline of German offensive superiority on the Eastern Front. A jeep crosses destroyed streets in Saint-Malo, France, with the ruins of St. Malo Church in the background in June 1944. The city suffered heavy bombing after D-Day during efforts to expel German forces from Normandy. American soldiers aboard a landing craft head toward Omaha Beach on D-Day, June 6, 1944. Around 344,000 troops landed under heavy fire, with over 2,000 killed on this beach alone. Higgins boats were essential for the invasion. Ground crews prepare bombs for the B-24D Liberator, Eager Beaver, of the 328th Squadron in Alençon, England. These aircraft participated in missions like Operation Tidal Wave, targeting oil refineries in Ploiesti, Romania in 1943. In 1943, California-based U.S. soldiers trained for chemical attacks with rifles and gas masks. A medic dog equipped with supplies represents the animals used for rescue and transport in combat zones. On June 6, 1944, American soldiers wearing life vests and helmets prepare to storm Normandy's beaches during D-Day. Over 156,000 Allied troops landed in France. In July 1941, in Helwan, Egypt, soldiers of the Maori Battalion performed a haka for the King of Greece. They were nicknamed the 25th German Army by enemies due to their relentless determination in combat. U.S. Marines drink coffee aboard the USS Arthur Middleton after 2 days of intense fighting on the atoll in the Marshall Islands on February 19, 1944. The battle was crucial for securing Allied air bases in the Pacific and weakening Japanese control. Soviet troops advanced in the rear of the German forces during the Battle of Kursk in July 1943. This was the largest tank battle in history, marking a decisive German defeat on the Eastern Front. The engagement involved over 6,000 tanks. On August 1, 1943, a B-24 flies over the Ploiesti oil refinery in Romania after the Operation Tidal Wave attack. The raid aimed to destroy German fuel supplies and was one of the most dangerous missions of the war, with 53 aircraft lost. Crosses mark the graves of German Fallschirmjäger paratroopers killed during the Battle of Crete in 1941. It was the first airborne invasion in history, but it resulted in heavy German losses. A British soldier kneels in prayer at Westminster Cathedral in London on June 14, 1940, the day Paris fell to the Nazis. This period marked the beginning of the Battle of Britain. Sailors aboard the HMS Iron Duke, a Royal Navy dreadnought, prepare its guns in 1939. Originally a World War I battleship, it was repurposed as an anti-aircraft defense ship during World War II. Soldiers pose next to the gigantic German railway gun, Schwerer Gustav, captured after World War II. Weighing 98 million pounds, it fired shells weighing up to 1,532 pounds over 30 miles and was used in the siege of Sevastopol in 1942.